Hi guys, it is April from Getting Hogo With It. Today I just want to share with you what I am currently reading. I'm thinking of doing a video like this more often in the middle of the month. So this is what I'm currently reading in mid-March. Listening to Pet Sematary on audiobook. It is narrated by Michael C. Hall, and I have to say, I wish all of Stephen King's books were narrated by Michael C. Hall because I think I would like them more. I'm really enjoying it so far. Like, it's really interesting. Michael C. Hall is an amazing narrator. Like, I highly recommend listening to it on audiobook because he's just so good. But I'm actually liking the storyline as well. It is about a family that moves to this little town. The father has this opportunity to work as a doctor there, and he's really excited about this opportunity. And he moves the family there and quickly learns about the pet cemetery. He has an elderly neighbor who lives across the street, and this neighbor tells him about the pet cemetery, and it is a place where you can bury your pet and then get it back, but not quite the same. All of the pets that come back after they die and are buried in the pet cemetery come back a little wonky, kind of zombie-like. So I am really enjoying it. So much more than I thought I would. I am nearly finished. I'm getting there, but it's not quite there yet. So I should be finished in about a week or so. So I'm really liking that. I am also reading The Valley of Amazement by Amy Tan. I've taken off the cover and you can see all of my little marks all over it. But yeah, Valley of Amazement by Amy Tan is very similar in some ways to Memoirs of a Geisha. It is the story of a girl who is or becomes a courtesan. So I realize a geisha and a courtesan are two different things, but she's in a high-class courtesan house, and you follow her from her as a little girl with her mother who owned a courtesan house, and then there is a very sudden separation of the mom and daughter. And Amy Tan always enjoys exploring mother-daughter relationships, which I think is really interesting. And this is no different, although I will say so far you're getting more of Violet's story, the daughter, than the mom, like by far. And I started doing this little thing which is really helpful to me. It's a bit of a beast. And so I've started doing this thing where I give myself little tabs that I want to get to a certain chapter, and I want to get to that chapter for a certain day. So every day I have a chapter essentially, which is helping me get through a larger book. I will say, so far I'm finding it a little bit choppy. I was going to say stinted, but it's more choppy. And that's a little bit frustrating for me. I'm also enjoying it. That said, I'm also comparing it a lot to Memoirs of a Geisha, which I loved. And this is not Memoirs of a Geisha. It should be able to be its own book in its own right, but I can't help but kind of compare that. I don't know why I can't, but I am doing that a lot. So I'm enjoying it. We'll see how much further I get this weekend. I'm 350 pages in at this point, and I need to get to 581. Oh, it's a big book. And then, okay, I know so many people have read and adored Educated by Tara Westover. I am still at the beginning of this. I am about 60 pages in, and it is very interesting. I'm not as blown away by Educated as a lot of other people are. This is a true story about a woman, Tara Westover, who grew up in a family that lived kind of on the outskirts, like a rural kind of setting. And her dad believed that the end of days was coming, and her dad was very kind of scary to be around. Her mom seems normal. Her mom's a midwife, which is normal. But her dad will talk about how like the feds are going to come and like shoot up the house, and we have to be prepared for that. And that is a terrifying thing to experience as a child. I just can't understand why these kids haven't been taken away from their father. Their mother is, she seems just more reserved and doesn't seem to put up really a fight with her father, which is kind of annoying. I feel like her mother should be protecting them in that sense, but yeah, so far I'm finding this good. Not overly well written. I'm not blown away by the writing. There's a lot of moments where she's like talking about how she remembers things. She's like, I think he said this, and I think this happened. And every time that happens, it takes me out of the story. And when it takes me out of the story, I just don't enjoy it as much. It's a very similar story in some ways to The Glass Castle, where you have these parents that are not really fit to parent. I wouldn't say her mother is not fit to parent so far. Her mom is not a bad mother, I wouldn't say. But the way that The Glass Castle was written was so much better, in my opinion. But yes, I'm still at the beginning. Eventually, we all know it's not a surprise. There's like, it says on the blurb that Tara Westover ends up going to university because she was not educated as a child in a traditional manner. Her mom tried in the beginning to educate them, and then over time decided, well, as long as you know how to read, that's enough. I don't agree with that. I don't think, homeschooling is a bad thing though. So that's not the issue. It's more like that the only thing you need to know is to read. And I was like, oh, reading is great, but it is good to know some basic things. So, yeah, that she goes to university, and so I'm eager to learn about that. And then the last thing that I am reading, I'm kind of reading it here and there. I'm not like sitting down with this chunker and reading it from cover to cover. I started to do that the other day and I got overwhelmed, and so I stopped. I'm reading Nurture. It's a modern guide to pregnancy, birth, early motherhood, and trusting yourself and your body. And I'm really enjoying it so far. I actually skipped ahead to after the baby comes. I skipped ahead of like the birth itself and just went straight for, taking care of a very newborn and taking care of yourself. The chapter that I just read was taking care of yourself after you give birth, which I think is wonderful that there's a whole chapter on that, because I don't think that happens a lot in books about motherhood, and I think that will be helpful. So I'm going to write myself a little list of things that I think I'll need for myself after I give birth. If you don't know, I am 16 weeks pregnant. When this goes up, I'll be 17 weeks pregnant. So, yeah, and then the next chapter is all about like taking care of like a very, very newborn and nursing and all of those things. So I'm enjoying it, and it's giving me some ideas of like little things I need to get, and just how to like prepare myself slightly, because we have spent so much time trying to get pregnant that I, reasonably so, didn't really think about after, because I thought that would be a bit arrogant to think that was going to happen for me. But now I need to start thinking about after and what in the world to do. And I am a little bit nervous, like this is going to be this little tiny baby that's going to rely on me. Like, I know that I'll be able to do it, but I want to have a little bit of help. So I thought this would be good, and I'm really liking her writing style. She is a birth and postpartum doula, and I like that. We're going to have a regular doctor and a regular hospital birth, but I really enjoy the philosophies around midwifery and doulas and all of those things. So I'd like to have this kind of knowledge going in. So I'm reading that. It's not like I'm going to be finished this by the end of this month, but I am reading it. So those are all of the books that I am currently reading. Let me know in the comments below what you're reading right now. Are you reading anything good? Let me know, and I will chat with you soon. Okay, bye guys.